Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Altcoins come and go, narratives change, but Bitcoin is the truth. The hardest money the world has ever seen. I thought about it, long and hard, the pros, the cons, dug deep, questioned everything. And at the end of the day, you've got to make up your own damn mind. I have conviction. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi. This is freedom. I'm a Bitcoin maxi.
Alright, legends, welcome to another live stream here on a Friday afternoon. Currently almost 10 to 2 in the excuse me, afternoon here in South Africa. Hope you're all having a great Friday, preparing for the weekend. Maybe you're going to spend some time with family, friends, relax, watch a movie, do nothing, whatever tickles your fancy. Okay, or be working, right? Some of us work on weekends as well. Right. So, legends, let's do a little bit of technical analysis. Today is going to be a short little update. I've got other things I need to attend to as well. But I thought, I wanted to do a little bit more frequent updates. So sometimes I will do a little bit of shorter live streams. And sometimes, like last night, I did an hour-and-a-half live stream. Okay, so, legends, what I did today, okay, is a little bit different from what I usually do. Okay, so hopefully it will make more sense to everyone. Let's see if you guys do enjoy the format. Right, I have seen that Kun does this as well. Kun's does this as well. So guys, kudos to Kunz. He comes up with these nice little ideas. And then today I thought to myself, okay, instead of going through all the nitty gritty detail and the ABCs and the WXYs and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So instead of me trying to teach you how to count and to say your ABCs, I'm going to keep it very simple over here. Okay, so legends, let's quickly start here on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, by the way, welcome to the live stream. Remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. Okay, so here on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, I'm just going to keep it super simple today, legends. Super simple. Okay, we are either forming that 1, 2, 3, 4, and here I go with counting again, waves here to the upside, and we're still expecting one more little leg. Okay, just to keep it simple, we're expecting one more push to the upside in the bearish case scenario. And then when we start correcting, now this is going to be the big question mark. Okay, is price going to form a higher low for continuation, or are we going to take the low and start a bear market? This for the moment is the primary scenario. We're still expecting this high that we created here at $124,000, 600 give or take, okay, to be claimed once again before we have a deeper, much deeper correction here to the downside. Okay, now from a most bullish case perspective, we are expecting upwards momentum. It just needs to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and it needs to rock and roll. $200,000, $180,000, 300. You pick your target, guys. I don't know how high it's going to go, but if this is a multiple 1, 2, I mean, it's going to absolutely fly here to the upside. If price taps $137,000, it will increase the probabilities to go much higher. Okay, just to keep it simple. So for the bulls, you want to tap $137,000. For the bears, we need to turn around before $137,000. And that could potentially be the end of the bull market. Okay, depending on what correction happens. Okay, if price just pumps over here, taps $137,000, maybe we're not going to get a correction. It's just going to go up. Okay. So what I did here on the smaller time frame, now we go here onto the 1-hour time frame. Okay, and I will go through some comments in a moment, legends. Okay, to keep things simple, okay, this structure for the moment has a higher probability in still being a corrective structure. And you know the song that I have been singing all along while we were trading here, I said we're going to claim that high. And now I'm singing the same song saying that although we claimed the high, I think based on what's happening, considering everything that I've been analyzing from an Elliott wave perspective, there's still a high chance to claim this high again. Okay, just to keep it simple. So it's still in our best interest to look for longs. Okay, I am seeing some people are saying that this is the top. Okay, and this is starting a bigger impulse to the downside, and I will tackle that scenario in a moment. But let's first go through some of the probabilities. And from a probability perspective, now let's zoom into this little structure. Okay, so I've kept it simple over here. Okay, first scenario is the bearish. Okay, let's talk about the most bearish case scenario, is that we are forming an impulsive structure to the downside. We are going to take this low. Okay, but can you see what happens after we take the low? We still move up to claim that high. This is the worst case scenario, the most bearish case scenario that I have on the table at the moment. But it's also the scenario that carries the lowest probability, but a probability nonetheless. So I wanted to start with the worst case scenario over here, is that we're building impulses here to the downside. You eat up the low, okay, and you find continuation back to the upside to that $130,000, $135,000 area. Okay, keeping it simple, guys, keeping it simple over here. Okay, then next scenario is we keep on ranging. Okay, we just keep on chopping, and then we find upwards momentum without claiming this low. Just to keep it simple, and I will bring the levels into this. I'm first going to discuss all the scenarios, and then I will show you the support and the resistance that's very important to pay attention to. Next scenario is the following, very similar. the range just finishes sooner. Okay, we go up, we go down, and then we go up. Okay, next scenario, same, very similar. And this is all based on the Elliott wave counts that I've already prepared before the live stream and just drawn out the polylines over here to show everyone, well, there's a chance you move up, you move down, you move higher. Okay, you range a little bit longer, then we move up. We range a little bit longer, it's like the medium in between the short and the long scenario, and we move up. Okay, so what I'm basically trying to show you everyone over here is if I switch on all the probabilities, okay, you can see that most of the probability. So if you want to do it from a count perspective to say that, well, there are more probabilities that says that we are going to form a higher low and continue momentum to the upside. There's only one probability that says we're going to claim the low, and this little red line carries the lowest probability from a structural perspective. Okay. So just to explain to everyone the low probability, it's basically a ABC. It's an A, B, C. Okay, and you want to see 5 waves inside of your C wave. Right, that is the worst case scenario. But you guys can see, even with the worst case scenario and considering all the scenarios that I have over here, I'm expecting up. Okay, so right, I'm not a financial advisor. Do with this information what you want, but the probabilities are still high to come and claim this high, regardless of the noise that happens over here. Hope that makes sense. After we get here, now this is going to be very interesting. Do we move higher and go and tap that $137,000 area, or do we reject in this zone and start falling to the downside in a larger, much larger corrective structure, which could take the whole month of September? So something to keep in mind, historically, every single bull market, okay, post-halving, every single bull market, September has been bearish. September has always given us a larger corrective structure. So just something to keep in mind, and it is based on data that we have available. Every single September historically has been bearish, okay, from a correction perspective. And then during October, November, December, January has historically been the most bullish months. Okay, so also do with that information what you want. Right, so guys, just to keep it simple, this is basically the picture that I've painted out over here, is that regardless of what happens over here, I'm still looking for up. Up still carries the highest probability. Okay, and I'm looking for, you know, let's do one target. Okay, so let's say we get the ABC. What I will do from a trend, so I need the correction to finish in order to pull proper Fibonacci's to the upside. But if I take the worst case scenario and I take a trend-based fib from the high to the low to the high, sorry, let me just make sure that I'm doing this correct. A, B, C. Okay, A, B. Sorry guys, I think I'm doing this wrong. A, B, C. Okay. Oh, that measures the C wave target, so it should actually be. Oh, my brain just went absolutely in a flat spin at the moment. But if this is okay, let me do it this way. Right, here we go, guys. I just had a blonde, sorry, no offense to any blonde people, but I had a blonde moment. There we go. Right, there we go. Okay. So these are your targets, guys. In the worst case scenario. Okay, worst case scenario, 1.618, okay, gives us $129,000. Obviously, the more shallow the correction, you guys can see that how that impacts the targets. They move up, so we can get a more bullish momentum move to the upside. So worst case scenario that I'm just painting out over here, $128,000 to $133,000. But I need the corrective structure to be done in order to do a proper fib pull over here. Right, so now let's dive into a little bit of support and resistance. So now let's, on the 15-minute time frame, look at this little structure that we have formed over here. Okay, and by the way, guys, if you'd like to come and trade whatever I'm, presenting here, or just do your daily trading, the links are always down in the description where you qualify for the biggest sign-up bonuses and lowest trading fees. Bluffing. You can get VIP status 1 and 2 by depositing 25k or 50k, and you get incredibly low trading fees and all the benefits that comes along with being a VIP 1 or VIP 2. Okay, weeks, you guys know the deal. 20% gets added to your features account depending on how much you deposit. 25% discount on your trading fees, and you qualify for VIP status 1. Immediately, you get VIP status 1 by using this link to sign up. Also, your way to support the channel. It costs you nothing extra, and all you need is an email and a password to sign up. So now let's dive back into this little structure, guys, and I will go through the comments before I end off the live stream because I want to keep it a little bit brief and bright over here. What am I seeing more locally? So let's close this little option. Let's open up today's probabilities. And I know it looks a little bit messy here at the moment. Let me just take this one out. Okay, there we go, guys. Keeping it relatively simple over here. Okay, if this is an impulsive structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is an ABC, this is the most bullish case scenario. Well, ideally, you want this to be the end. Maybe one more low and you want to see a bounce here to the upside. Okay, I don't like this structure as being a 5-wave structure that ended over here, and this is an ABC. It's not my favorite scenario. For me, it carries lower probability, but it's something that we need to be aware of. Okay, this little support over here, I think, is very important support, because when I start switching on daily levels, weekly levels, point of controls, okay, let's just mess up the chart a little bit over here. You can see there are 2 clusters of support that I have to the downside. Very, very, very strong support to the downside. So if price had to hit this area over here and this area over here, very, very strong support. Okay, and you can see the low is still protected, and we have some significant support inside of this zone. $116,000, 500, and $114,000. Here we have a weekly point of control and a daily level that can provide support. Okay, and a nice little consolidation area. A little bit further down, if things get nasty here to the downside, we still have a weekly level together with a naked point of control inside of this little range. Okay, so for me, what I'm seeing here at the moment, worst case scenario, okay, we maybe still move up to at least tap one of these FIP levels before we reject. It would be strange for price to find downwards momentum from where it is at the moment. We didn't tap a proper minimum FIP requirement just as yet, of which the minimum is the 0.382, but we all know from past experience that the 0.236 can also be a target. It's just very rare. They don't play out often. So there's a chance. Okay, for now, I would at least want price to at least tap the 0.382, and then we get a rejection to the downside. Or 50%, and you can see here together with the 0.618, we have another naked point of control. So from a probability perspective, what I'm seeing here on the price of Bitcoin is that perhaps we still move up. Okay, not sure how high we are going to go. We can reject here, we can reject here, we can reject here. It's about observing the price reaction at each of those levels and claim this low again. Let's claim that low again. And we're either going to bounce here, or maybe from a worst case perspective, we bounce over here. Right, and that could be your A, B, C. Okay. Yeah, I go again teaching you guys your ABCs, but a 3-wave structure. It could be a nice little 3-wave structure, and then you get a nice little 5-wave structure back to the upside, or a 3-wave structure. Doesn't really matter, but I think there's a high chance after we claim one of these 2 levels, we're going to go and claim that pivot. Whether price goes sideways and then up, or whether it goes up directly, okay, it would be nice for price to at least tap one of these 2 boxes before we just move up. For me, for price moving up here, and I think that's one scenario that I did not cover, guys, is that based on all the probabilities that are highlighted over here, okay, and the reason I didn't even put it in the chart is because for me it carries such low probability. But let's be prepared. So let me slap on another polyline over here. Okay, is correction is done, and what you want to see is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the upside. Okay, not the highest probability, because I do know that there are people looking at this structure as an impulsive structure here to the upside. Okay, if the impulsive structure ended over here, this could be counted as your A, B, C. Done. And now you want to see impulsive structures to the upside. For me, it carries low probability. I would like to see a longer range form over here and at least come and tap one of these two boxes to the downside. It's all a game of probabilities at the end of the day. So, I mean, if you are in a long from this zone and you think and you are convinced from a technical perspective that we are just going to move up and take the high, well, you know, if you have your risk management in place, why not? Take a little bit of profits to the upside so that if price turns against you, you at least get stopped out with profits. Okay, I unfortunately cannot tell you what you need to do as a trader. I'm just a crazy dude here on YouTube discussing Picasso drawings here on the chart. Okay. Right. Also, something that I wanted to point out is let's clean up the levels over here. Okay, let's take all the noise here out the chart. And something very interesting when I look at this structure. Okay. So guys, this is how you look for confluence. You have to go through everything. When I switch on the VRVP, okay, can you guys see the highest volume node? The highest volume node over here is at the 0.618 inside of this consolidation area. But also that you see that, I'm not sure if you guys can see this. There's a high, like one single candle, massive high volume node over here in confluence with a 50%. And then we also have massive volume over here in confluence with the 0.382. So very interesting to see, and this is how technical analysis is just beautiful, how the Fibonacci levels lines up with the volume levels as well. So any of these levels can offer the rejection. Okay, it's not guaranteed we're going to just go up. You need to pay attention, okay, to these levels over here, because they could be rejection opportunities, shorting opportunities. You enter a short, okay, take profits at the low, look for a long. Okay, we know the levels to the downside as well. Right. Now, that's basically from a VRVP that I wanted to show everyone. And yeah, guys, that's basically the update here from my side. Okay, let me just take this polyline here out the way. So for the bulls, if you are extremely bullish and it's only up from here, well, then the structure needs to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Okay, and then people are going to ask me, Dewald, doesn't make sense from a timing perspective. Okay, so let's take this time fib out the way and let's see, well, if the impulse came to an end over here, which makes more sense than an impulse coming to an end over here. Okay, so if the impulse came to an end over here, what you want to do from a timing perspective is take your time fib from the low to the high of this structure. And you can see, well, okay, this low was made after the 0.382. So for the bulls, if you're feeling extremely bullish and you think we're just going to rampage from here, it is at least after the minimum time requirement, because from this little pivot, you could say that this is an A, B, C that finished after the minimum requirement. If you have a count from a technical perspective where you believe that the high was made over here and this is the end of the impulse, okay, then there's a problem. Then you have a problem, because if I take a time fib from the low to the high, okay, it's not time. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is the end of your impulse, well, there's a problem over here. Okay, there's a problem. So you still want the range to continue after the 0.382 before we continue momentum to the upside. Hope that makes sense. Right. Cool, legends. That is basically what I'm seeing here on the price of Bitcoin. Let me make sure that I am not missing anything. Okay, I purposefully don't want to deep dive into Elliott wave theory today. So, you know, guys, from a simplicity perspective, when you look at this little structure, okay, on the 15-minute time frame, right? If you're a day trader, you don't care whether we're going to all-time highs, and you don't care whether we're in a bear market. All you want as a day trader is volatility. Price needs to move up and down so that you can trade the levels. Okay, so from a day trading perspective, well, these levels here, okay, becomes very interesting shorting opportunities. Shorting opportunity, shorting opportunity, shorting opportunity. Okay, the longing opportunity, break of trend. Okay, there was your longing opportunity. There was also another break of trend. There was your longing opportunity. So there's no longs for me at the moment. This is not a zone where I long. You missed it. Okay, that's either the SFP. Do you guys remember yesterday's live stream where I said, okay, let's zoom in. Oops, let's zoom into this little pivot here at the bottom where we looked at this little structure. Do you guys remember? Horizontal line, I used the magnet, snapped it onto the lows over here, and we made these little lows. And I said, well, guys, from a risk management perspective, it's worth a shot. Okay, we made these little lows, but from a CVD perspective, I said it doesn't make sense. Okay, I'm not feeling it. Those were the words that I used yesterday, I think. Okay, I'm not feeling it yet. I would like to see a dip, a proper dip below and acceptance back above, and that's what we got after the live stream. Okay, I want to see a proper dip below the lows. You start trading back above, okay, you break the trend, sign of bullish momentum, and, you know, if you are inside of the long over here, or maybe you played the long over here, that little pivot, profit-taking area, 382 profit-taking area, 50% profit-taking area, okay, so you play the longs to the upside, and you play, well, depending on where it's going to reject. Okay, there's potential shorting opportunities here. So from a day trading perspective, this is paradise at the moment. Okay, beautiful swing failure pattern, shorting opportunities ahead. Right. Yeah, I think that is basically what I wanted to cover over here. Let's go through some comments, say hi to the community. And this is basically the update from my side in 27 minutes. Yes, the update. Right. But how do you count the structure, Dewald? Phantom, I purposefully do not want to go through the counts at the moment. It's going to take too much time if I go through all the ABCs, WXYs, and I do have the structures, but it's just going to take too much time, and I don't have a lot of time for the live stream. So I think from a simplicity perspective, I just wanted to show the probabilities. So from a probability perspective, in summary, what I am looking at, let's just switch off this VRVP over here. Okay, what I will do is I will post all the proper Elliott wave scenarios with the counts inside of the Legends Pro community. That's what I will do. Okay, but from a probability perspective, okay, there's a high chance based on all the scenarios, okay, that we are still going up. And this low could potentially be protected because there's only one scenario, which is the red scenario, okay, is where all hell's going to break loose. Right, and that scenario carries the lowest probability. And I like to trade probabilities, but as technical traders, we need to be aware. Okay, so if, like always, guys, let me go here onto the 1 hour time frame. Okay, let's clean up the chart ever so slightly. If, okay, this scenario is going to play out, worst case scenario, you take your FIB from this high, oops, your trend-based FIB, okay, trend-based FIB, second option, from this high to the low to this high. You drag it across, and now you have your targets to the downside. So from a worst case perspective, okay, look out for the 1-to-1 extension because it might not even go deep. This is a C-wave target. Okay, the most common C-wave targets is inside of this zone. So pay attention. You can use these lines as swing failure lines. Okay, and then, I mean, it can go to the 1.618. Not an ideal target, but it does get hit for C waves. Okay, so I'm just mapping it out like such because that's the most common targets. Okay, but I don't want to harp too much on the bearish case scenario because there are more scenarios. If I take this one out, the packet, okay, let's take this one out, the packet. There are way more scenarios stating that this low is protected. And whatever happens over here, we're still looking for up. Okay. Right, legends, and those are basically the scenarios. Remember, if you'd like to come and trade Bitcoin and your favorite altcoins, links are down in the description. Also, guys, there's something coming, okay? You will definitely benefit by having signed up with Bluffin down in the description. Okay, there's something exciting coming. So, you know, if you are signed up with my Bluffin link down in the description, there's a surprise coming for you. But I will do a proper announcement once it's ready. Let's go through some more comments. Stefan 1, the CEO of TA, Dewald, the Maxi, welcome you to the live stream, man. It's the weekend, Faz, yes. Hello, Hannes, Dewald, yes, put my brother here all the way from South Africa. Well, for me, yeah, in South Africa. Welcome. Welcome, Tiat Legend, yes, my brother here in the house. So all the beautiful music and the remixes and that you guys hear on the live stream, he's the culprit. He's the person putting it all together. Right. Mr. Goldstar, we all get brain fog, buddy. I wouldn't worry. Yep, it makes sense, Master Arim. Perfect. Okay, Dewald, what were you saying yesterday about if it taps the 0.9 something about good target for big drop? Sorry for not listening, confused. To take the high. I don't remember what I said. But guys, in a nutshell, Mr. Goldstar, I'm not sure if you're referring to, okay, when you have momentum to the upside, okay, when you take a fib from the high to the low and you tap the 0.8, okay, like we did over there, you increase the probabilities of taking that high. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, okay, which we did, well, I'm talking about Bitcoin like it's we, okay, which Bitcoin did, right, especially if momentum is strong towards the upside. Okay, so let's do this. Just want to clean up the chart over here. Right, CEO of, let's go, Sol Analysis briefly. Sol Analysis, guys, I unfortunately do not have time to do more technical analysis on other tokens as well. Hi, Dewald, could you give us a TLDR for today? What on earth is a TLDR? Can you please write it out for me because my brain is mush today. I did a lot of stuff this morning, so my brain is mush. TL, trade, live, during, what? I'm just going to make up my own stuff here. Right, Tiart will dance with socks as we burn some socks. Anyways, legends, thank you so much. For those of you that are asking for altcoin requests, I apologize. I don't have a lot of time today. But remember to smash up that like button. I will be back either during the weekend or next. You know, this weekend is going to be absolutely insane. I will see you all on Monday. Okay, have yourselves an amazing weekend. Please try and take a break from the chart, especially on Saturdays, because, you know, most often charts, the Bitcoin chart just ranges on Saturdays. You're wasting your time in front of the charts. Take a break, reset your brain. Get out in nature, drive a bike, walk your dog, sit on the grass. But please just reset your brain, especially on Saturdays. And until the next one, have an awesome weekend. Cheers for now.